No, because you were Christian at the time, or you weren't Muslim at the time. You wanted the Muslims to lose the
100%.
discussion, right?
100%. I was so disgusted at how Christians weren't winning any debates. So I was like, let me pick different ones to watch, but it didn't work no matter what I did. Every time I watched it, my daughter would watch it anyway. So from her growing up, all she knew was Islam. All she knew was EF Dawah. So when for me it was an easy transition for her. Her mother, but they always knew that I was heading towards that way. So when it came to me, October the 8th, I remember the date. It was an easy process. I was going for my operation, and my daughter was like, "Daddy, I want to be a Muslim. Like you be a Muslim."
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Andy.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. I'm glad, mashallah, that you've agreed to have a little talk, because it's always very interesting and mashallah very inspiring for our brothers and sisters, some who are considering Islam maybe, And so this is why we like to, inshallah, have this talk. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? And what are you doing here today at Speaker's Corner?
My name is Andrew. I'm from Australia. About myself, I was a Christian. A friend of mine introduced me to Islam. I ended up watching videos. Then I ended up, from watching those videos, came to Speaker's Corner, seeing the brothers on Speaker's Corner. I was constantly wanting you guys to lose debates with the Christians, but obviously it wasn't working well. And then, at the end of it, I was like, listen, I have one more question I have to ask the brothers. I happened to get onto a stream. And then when I did, I took my shahada, alhamdulillah.
So you came on one of the EF Dawah streams.
Yeah.
And who was it that gave you the shahada? Because I don't remember now.
Well, you asked me choose who to take the shahada.
Okay.
And obviously, since I've been watching Hamza, I thought, okay,
alhamdulillah,
let me have Hamza taking my shahada.
Alhamdulillah. So you currently live in Australia?
Yes.
You're just here on holiday, or?
Just on holiday.
Okay, mashallah. Okay, alhamdulillah. So, if I may ask you, because you said initially you were looking at these different streams and videos, and you wanted because you were Christian at the time, or you weren't Muslim at the time, you wanted the Muslims to lose the discussion, right?
100%. I was so disgusted at how Christians weren't winning any debates, so I was like, let me pick different ones to watch, but it didn't work no matter what I did.
And I think this is the thing, Allah says in the Quran as well, that truth stands clear from error.
Yeah.
So when the truth is presented, if you have an open heart and an open mind, and you're willing to accept the truth, that alhamdulillah, Allah opens your heart, and mashallah, Allah opened your heart to Islam, alhamdulillah. But mashallah, so that realization came that, this appears to be very different perhaps from what I had learned about Islam, and it seems to have a very strong argument. What was the last question that you had that you came on the stream and asked?
It was you that actually answered
Okay.
it. So I asked, because for me it was the Sabbath, it was the 10 Commandments that were very important. I think it was the fundamentals of Christianity. So for me it was like, why do the Muslims keep the Sabbath?
Okay.
And then you gave me the answer and it made sense.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And brother, mashallah, I've learned that some good news that today Anis told me, that mashallah there are other people in your family, alhamdulillah, who've also embraced Islam, mashallah. So just tell us about that as well, and how was that a difficult journey to convince some of the other members of the family, or?
Well, so 2009 I got introduced to Islam. I took my shahada 2021.
Okay.
So that was that long process, like 12 to 13 years, where just learning about Islam, where every time I watched it, my daughter would watch it anyway. So from her growing up, all she knew was Islam. All she knew was EF Dawah. So when for me it was an easy transition for her. Her mother, but they always knew that I was heading towards that way. So when it came to me, October the 8th, I remember the date. It was an easy process. I was going for my operation, and my daughter was like, "Daddy, I want to be a Muslim. Like you be a Muslim." And I said, "Listen, if the guys accept me on the live stream, then we'll do it." And I really wanted the guys who did mine, you guys that were part of my shahada, to be a part of my daughter's shahada and her mother's shahada.
Alhamdulillah. And how old is your daughter, if you don't mind me asking?
Nash 13.
Mashallah, 13.
Yeah.
And you said from a young age.
From when she was born.
When she was born, subhanAllah.
2009 I was introduced, that's when she was born. So that was the reason why I wanted to not study Islam. I wanted to know who to thank for my daughter's birth.
Alhamdulillah.
And I wanted Christianity to be that But then when people were telling me about Islam, I was like, hold on, what's this pagan religion telling me about my prophets? And
Yeah.
the next thing, one thing led to another, and I know we say the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala led me to Islam.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And you know, mashallah, what's interesting is that you're saying that your daughter also had an influence
Yes, 100%.
on you accepting it because she had already accepted it,
Yes.
internalized it.
Yes.
Mashallah. So you gave the shahada first.
I
that
took
right?
the shahada first.
Mashallah.
And then in October, which is about 3 months later, my daughter took it.
Alhamdulillah. And you said that your mother as well.
Yes, so my mother took it after my daughter and her mother. So yeah,
Alhamdulillah,
so
alhamdulillah.
she's still learning, but you know,
Of course, and the journey never ends for learning. Anyway, we're always learning, and there's always mashallah more to indulge in and learn from.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. But it's a wonderful story, mashallah.
thank you.
And
you guys play a big part of my story.
it's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah creates the asbab, the avenue.
Yeah.
But ultimately, all benefit comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's with His mercy. And in this particular time, He used us, but it could have been somebody else.
Yeah.
But that's His favor on us as well. Alhamdulillah, to be a part of that. But mashallah, it was a real pleasure to meet you, and mashallah,
you. It was a
wonderful
pleasure.
story. And maybe we have to do a longer interview about your 9-10 years of journey and looking through Christianity. But one of the things I'd like to just touch on is that obviously you've been studying for many years. What was it about Christianity that actually didn't seem to satisfy, this concept of that this is the religion that I should be following? What was that? What was it that caused that conflict in you?
I think it was just it wasn't clear about Jesus' role. Was he the Father? Was he God? Was he the Son of God? Is he the messenger? Was he the Messiah? Like a lot of the things that for me weren't answered as a Christian, Islam answered it for me straight away.
Alhamdulillah.
So it just put everything into perspective. It put all the missing pieces of the puzzle, and for me it was like I stood back and I was like, wow, I can't believe that this is the religion for me.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And mashallah, that just shows that for a lot of people who say, oh, people accept religion, Islam, on a whim, or just like, for some frivolous gain or just some frivolous decision, clearly you have spent an exceptional amount of time, years, many, many years, right, studying. And in fact, initially you said you wanted Islamic arguments to lose,
100%,
right?
100%.
And so you didn't have a bias to come to Islam, but if anything, a bias to stay away from Islam. But alhamdulillah, because Allah opened your heart and you were willing to accept the truth, that alhamdulillah, today you're a brother in Islam, and I'll give you a little hug, a little handshake, mashallah. Pleasure to meet you, brother. Alhamdulillah. So, brothers, mashallah, had a lovely discussion. It was a short discussion, but mashallah, what it does show us is that when people are true and they are, willing to accept the truth, willing to accept if something makes sense and it seems rational and reasonable, that based upon the faculty of reason that Allah gave you, that you are willing to accept the evidence when you were overwhelmed by it and when you saw it. And what we would hope that our Christian friends, brothers and sisters, and people of no faith would also look at Islam. And I'm not saying don't look at it critically. Look at it critically. But at least have an open heart and an open mind like Brother Andy had. That if it's the truth, if it has an overwhelming strength and message to it and a robustness to it, then I'm going to accept it. And alhamdulillah, that's what you did. So congratulations, my brother.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, with that, brothers, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.